Welcome to the Shyamcast. This is Brett.
This is Shyam.
Thanks so much for being here with us. Hi, Shyam. I would ask you how you're doing, but we talked a little bit before, so I kind of know how you're doing. Um, but yeah, a lot of busy times over at the temple,
Lot of busy times. Yeah.
a lot of services, a lot of things going on. Um, you said something that you were just saying earlier, like your mind is really engaged right now,
Mm.
and sorry, it's like it's like you're having to use your mind so much with all the different things that are going on and keeping all the projects straight. And that did make me think of where we are in Bhagavad Gita right now. Um, with last week we just were talking about the two verses about the mind being the friend or the enemy, and you have to use the mind, in order to like progress spiritually on this path. And yeah, sometimes the mind is used in service more than others, I suppose, or used more intensely, you might say. Uh, yeah. And there's a part, I guess, we're skipping a few verses, I guess, as we usually do. We couldn't just go along every so often and choose a verse. So we're sort of skipping over a few verses where Krishna is going from the discussion of, you have to use the mind. The mind can serve as your friend or your enemy. And these verses we're skipping over refer to, one who has conquered the mind basically sees things with this equal vision, and Krishna goes over a few different things. You see heat and cold, honor and dishonor as the same. You see rocks and you see gold as the same. Um, and then, 6.9 is very similar to 5.18, which we talked about a few weeks ago. Basically seeing like all people, all living beings the same, people who are, whether they're nice to you and they love you, or they're very envious of you and they don't like you, or kind of anybody in between, and seeing everybody as the same. So um, talking about like, okay, the symptoms of one who has conquered their mind, whose their mind is their best friend. And then we get to today's verse, which is 6.10, where Krishna starts to go into the process a little bit more. Um, I guess the meditative process, or just sort of like he's giving some instructions, I guess more like sort of specific instructions you might say to Arjuna at this point. So we'll read the verse for today, 6.10. A transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind, and self in relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feelings of possessiveness. Do a second go. So we do that. Like, that's become a thing. We just twice. A transcendentalist should always engage his body, mind, and self in relationship with the Supreme. He should live alone in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feelings of possessiveness.
Mm.
So the first word in the Sanskrit, Prabhuji, is yogi, and
Mm.
in this instance, Srila Prabhupada translates that as a transcendentalist. Um,
Mm.
this made me think a little bit. I know I have mentioned I'm going on a little teaching excursion in about a month, and the literature that we teach at that, I guess, on that semester is American transcendental literature, or it's like a group of people who are labeled the transcendentalists in the 1800s in New England. And I guess it just made me think. I was just sort of looking over this essay that was trying to define what a transcendentalist was and how that was a difficult thing. And this group of people who were labeled transcendentalists didn't really necessarily want to be called transcendentalists. It was just sort of like a name that was given to them kind of by other people, I suppose. Um, People who knew Bhagavad Gita, actually, some of them, pretty well. And I don't know, I guess it's a it seems fitting that, transcendental is hard to define because I suppose, you know, the definition of transcendental has to do with going beyond everything that's material, everything that's kind of like familiar with us, everything that we typically use to define ourselves. And um, so I think, I don't know, interesting. Do you have any thoughts on that? Just initially, like, that first word is a transcendentalist. Yogi is a transcendentalist.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the word yogi can be a misnomer in today's day and age.
Mm.
One may think a yogi is one who does some physical poses. There's so many ways to define yoga. So Prabhupada is describing the word Krishna used yogi has a different meaning 5,000 years ago than the meaning of the word yogi in today's day and age. So Srila Prabhupada is defining it in a way that we can understand the true purpose behind what Krishna is saying.
Mm. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense, Boji. I feel like yoga, I mean, if people talk about yoga in America today, it in all likelihood it means like an asana class, you know.
Mm.
Um, and I mean, I like asana classes. I like doing asana, but yeah, I guess it makes a lot of sense then why, that's part of maybe the reasoning for that, for saying a transcendentalist, because obviously yoga is a vast system,
Mm.
there's so
And
much
see,
to it.
and see the characteristics Krishna is describing.
Mhm.
About a yogi, he sees gold and stone same. He sees all living entities on a spiritual platform. He has controlled his mind. So clearly, the symptoms that we may say a yogi in today's day and age absolutely doesn't match with the symptom Krishna is describing. That yogi that Krishna is describing has gone beyond all medical circumstances. So Prabhupada clearly is mentioning who has gone beyond is actually a transcendentalist who has transcended the material nature, material thought process, one who has gone beyond the three modes. And that's what Krishna called that person a yogi. But now times have changed. So that's why Prabhupada call it as it is. Because somebody say a yoga means somebody who does something. Now nowadays yogis don't teach about those subject matter actually. So like sweat yoga and flying yoga and swim yoga and dog yoga and what all things have been introduced. So, so one may think, yes, I am a yogi, but then Krishna, the whole Bhagavad Gita meaning will change actually. What Krishna is saying.
Mhm. Yeah, no, but just to I'm thinking about like this is the previous verse, but comparing stones to gold or something like that, and maybe like if I'm just it's like if someone put like a big stack of money on a table, like $10,000 in cash,
Yeah.
like I mean my immediate reaction would just be like my eyes would get big, my heart would probably start to beat a little bit, like there would be this instant reaction. Um, and just thinking about a little bit more, I don't know. I can see a person saying it's like, well, why wouldn't you? It's like you can whatever it is, you can do things with that gold or with that money or whatever it is. But considering seeing something like you just see two objects. It's like I see a stone and I see a piece of gold.
Mm.
I see a stone, I see a bunch of money. It's like they're just two material things. Anything that I could hope to do with this would be a selfish desire. I'm just
Mm.
trying to get something for myself.
Mm.
So yeah, they're the same.
Mm.
Um, but I guess I don't know, I'm imagining it's like, okay, what is it like to do that? What could it be like? And when I imagine it, it's like I get that reaction of, wow, look at all this money, look at. Like it would just sort of like it instantly happens. And so that's where I guess that's where it makes me feel where that gap is, that like this big gulf between it's sort of like where I am and where I hope to be someday, where like you see how much money, how much gold, and there's just no reaction because you just see it for what it really is. You just see this, it's just an object.
Mm. Which is like, which has a significance in this word in context to the word today is.
Hmm.
But in absolute sense, it has no meaning because the whole universe will be dissolved. Then what is the difference between this paper and that paper and this object? Everything is like dissolved and the living entity just moves on. So from absolute sense, but from relative sense to how society perceives, because we are part of, we consider ourselves as part of the society, or we are conditioned by the modes and by the society, we have a different perception. But Krishna says this is all because of the mind only.
Yeah, all the value of money is in the mind,
Mm.
right? Or all of the
A-
or the
Anything,
worthlessness of a rock, whatever it is. It's like those are just ideas.
fame and disfame, heat and cold, dualities, likings, attachments, repulsions, hatred, all mind only. Objects like we are caught up, na? So Krishna is describing all these as characteristics of yogi, and Prabhupada calls him a transcendentalist.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does speak to also kind of like the end of the verse, but is not possessive,
Mm.
um, sort of free from desire, feelings of possessiveness. Um, the one of the next sort of part of the verse, where Krishna uses the word atmanam,
Mm.
and I guess this is in an instance where it's all encompassing.
Mm.
Atma can mean body, mind, soul, and it's used sort of all encompassing in this verse. I mean, the yogi engages themselves fully, body, mind, and spirit, in focus on the supreme.
Mm. Internal, yes.
Mm.
Using everything to find joy within, to be satisfied within. Using everything in a way that satisfaction comes from within.
Mm. What could you say, Prabhuji, about the part of this verse that says, in relation to the supreme? I feel like this is connecting to some of the things we read previously in the Gita, where there's this indication to sort of link, I guess, everything that we're doing with the single focus of the
Yeah.
supreme being.
Does Atmaram verse comes in this verse? The word Atmaram?
It does, yeah.
Okay. And Prabhupada translates Atmaram as body, mind, and spirit.
Body, mind, and self is the wording, yeah.
Is the wording. Okay. Yeah, makes very good sense actually. And in relationship to Supreme, Prabhupada says Atmaram means body, mind, and self in relationship with the Supreme.
So yeah, it's let's see here, Prabhuji. The Sanskrit is Atmanam Rahasi Stitha. So Atmanam he translates as himself by body, mind, and self. Rahasi is in a secluded place. That's a different part. But yeah, so I guess maybe it's the beginning part where it's a transcendentalist, must concentrate in Krishna consciousness constantly.
So Atmanam itself is body, mind, and self in relationship with the Supreme. That's
Correct.
the that's how Atmanam is defined.
Well, it's just defined as by body, mind, and self.
But then
So
in
just,
the translation, Prabhupada says body, mind, and self focus on the Supreme.
yep, yep.
So that's whole phrase is
So so no, yeah, Atmanam, the phrase itself is just by body, mind, and self. So in reference to the supreme, I think is the word yunjita.
Ah, got it.
Yeah. So it's yogi yunjita satatam atmanam rahasi stita.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit technical, but just trying to understand.
Mhm.
Okay, perfect. So now what was the discussion?
So I was wondering, I guess just again, this comes up where I guess just the point comes up again of, engaging oneself uh sort of for the supreme or in relationship to the supreme. This is another way maybe of phrasing it. We've talked about sacrifice and, karma yoga. Just wondering if you had any thoughts on this where, he's saying, engage oneself fully with body, mind, and self, and it's in relationship to the supreme.
Amazing, bro. Super. One thing I remember, there is this concept of Chatushloki Bhagavatam, which is like 4 verses that Lord Narayan or Lord Vishnu, he spoke to Brahma. And there, one of those are like the whole Bhagavatam is coming from those 4 verses. They're like so core teachings. They come in second canto, 9th chapter Bhagavatam. They are one of the things the Lord says. He says 4 verses. One of the verses, Brahma, know that anything which is not in relation to me, know it to be my illusory energy. Anything which is not seen in relationship to me, know it to be my illusory energy. There, Narayan is defining illusory energy actually. Anything not. So here Prabhupada is describing Yunjita means seeing everything in relationship with the Supreme. And that is the only one one can become Atmaram. Atma means within. Ram means pleasure. So Atmaram means one who drives pleasure within himself. So there are 2 words. There is bhogi and there is yogi. Bhogi finds pleasure outside. Yogi finds pleasure inside. Or yogi, Atmaram, Yunjita. Uh, we see. When we see the form of the Lord, when we see devotees, we find the pleasure inside. When we see something outside, something beautiful creation or something, we find pleasure outside there. Just like the different in relationship with the Supreme brings within in a way. The mind engage in the Lord, so much joy. The mind engage outside, Krishna says pleasure in the beginning, but it ends with some or other inconveniences. Atma means self. So it can refers to the body, the mind, um, the soul itself, anything. Using everything in relationship with the Supreme. Another thing is it is not necessary that we see the Supreme, but we are using it in some way which is connected to the Supreme.
Yeah, like I remember a lot of, hearing from devotees about like, using each part of your body in service, or each one of your senses in service.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
like, seeing things that
mm,
remind you of the Supreme, hearing things that remind you of the Supreme,
mm,
um, and engaging oneself in that way, and deepening yoga practice, right,
mm.
by engaging the senses more in relationship to the Supreme.
This laptop is used right now in relationship with the Supreme. Same as this camera, same as this microphone, same as this table, this chair, this room. Everything is right now used in relationship with Supreme. Perfect. So it's not that we are seeing, of course, a pure devotee will see Krishna everywhere, in every atom. But we are not seeing Krishna everywhere. But still we are using it in relationship with the Supreme. Whatever we are doing, Krishna is connected there.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like this is one of the things that I f- I feel like makes bhakti practice more accessible,
Mm,
like for a greater number of people to practice,
mm,
because like just as you say, it's not it's not like this complicated formula that you have to follow in order to act in relation to the Supreme. It's just sort of, it's as simple as getting on and having a conversation about Bhagavad Gita, and it's like, or, cooking and then offering your food. It's sort of, it's simple things. And yeah, I guess it's, and there just isn't like there isn't a super severe austerity that has to be done. Um, it's not like totally renouncing. I know there's actually some lines in this chapter itself about what real renunciation is, and how it's not just casting every single thing aside. It's using things in service, sort of
Mm,
using what you already have in service.
mm,
Um, and I just feel like, yeah, it makes it a lot more approachable. I think maybe just for an average person who's interested in spiritual life, and it makes it a lot more accessible to, it's like, well, it's kind of like anything you can do can be
mm.
spiritual as long as
Absolutely.
like with your intention is there.
Car. Some people may use their profession. Like you have somebody, he's coming and putting some framing. So he is not actually thinking anything about Lord. He doesn't know what this place is, have no idea. He just, we pay him something and he comes and does. But actually, he's using his skill in relationship with the Supreme that he also doesn't realize. That is like Agyata Sukriti. Means unknowingly he rendering devotional service. Unknowingly. But he's rendering devotional service.
Still counts. Mhm.
Everything can be used in relationship with the Supreme. And Lord says anything not used in connection to me, know it to be my illusory energy.
Mhm.
Whole universe, every object of the universe, everything can be used.
Mhm. So that's okay. Maybe I guess it puts a question into my mind, Roji. I feel like it might be hard for me to get out. Um, but so, Krishna is saying everything not in relation to me is illusory energy or Maya, I suppose. I'm not sure if he uses that word exactly in the verse. Um, but then, at the same time, as you're saying, anything can be used, right, in relation to the Supreme. So I suppose in a way, like everything, like every even all the material stuff that we have around, it can be used in relation to the Supreme. Therefore, it's like it doesn't have to be illusory, but if it's not used in relation to the Supreme, then it is illusory. So I'm sort of wondering where that illusion lies, if that makes sense. Like where does the illusion come in? If I see this book, I guess this could be illusory energy or it could not. Does it just depend on my mental state? Does it kind of go back to the mind again?
So what I am, my consciousness, um, when I'm approaching something, is that influenced by the illusory energy? Or is it influenced by Krishna? If I see something as an object of my enjoyment, I'm influenced by the illusory energy.
Mm.
But if I see something in relationship to Krishna, then I'm not seeing, then I am not covered by illusory energy. Because I'm seeing that thing, that object, that house or that whatever car or that person or that place. See that in relationship to Supreme.
Mm.
Very hard actually.
Yeah. I feel like so it has a lot to do with motivation or intention, I suppose,
Yeah.
right? If I'm thinking about how I'm going to use this house, what's the purpose of what is this house? And if my mind goes to this place of, well, it's for me to live in and have fun, I'm going to have parties and on and on. then that's sort of caught in the illusory energy or in ignorance in a way, right? I'm
And
not really seeing it for what it
mm,
is. I'm not trying to, I'm not like thinking about where it comes from or what, you know, yeah, hard
yeah,
to
yes.
put into words.
So we are either influenced by Krishna's internal energy, devotional energy, or we are influenced by Krishna's illusory energy. But then there is another, which is little bit deeper concept, that the objects are also made of illusory energy. But when the objects are used in relationship with the Lord, then the objects become spiritualized. Like we say that the body of a pure devotee is spiritual. But Krishna also says that the body is made up of illusory energy. Yantra Rurani Maya. Krishna's body is a machine which is made up of Maya. Yantra Rurani Maya. So the object can be used, yeah, when it is used in Krishna service, becomes spiritualized.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why why it's called object is also made of illusory energy? Because they have no eternal existence. All of them will be submerged into earth, water, fire, air, ether, and they all comes from um, sound. From sound, the whole universe comes. So, like from the mantra, so many things comes, and in the sound, everything merges. So, if you see really, it's like there are some magic shows. So he's like, and something appears, fire appears, something appears, and like, and it disappears. So object actually appears and the object disappears. When a magician can do like that, to us it's real. We touch it, hey, it's hot. Actually, there are magicians who can do those things. I've seen some magic shows. Yeah, there are some very good magicians. I don't know how they do it though. But anyways, uh, see, everything comes from sound. Everything merges into the sound during the dissolution. So all the objects are also, including our bodies, is also the product of illusory energy in one way. It's just a magician may show it for 2 seconds and this universe may exist for millions of years. Same temporary nature though.
Yeah, so I guess yeah, well, thank you, Prabhuji. I think that helps a lot. I mean, I guess I'm thinking of, the definition of the soul that Krishna gave in chapter 2 as the thing to compare all the material stuff to, like how everything really is insubstantial. Nothing, everything comes, and it's like everything is, all of the material in the universe is just a process of change. It's just going through change. And contrasting that to, this self, this soul that Krishna is talking about in chapter 2, that is, immortal, immutable,
Mm,
blissful,
mm,
can't be cut by a knife or, stung by the wind. Um, and so, when we talk about illusory energy, I guess it puts it into, maybe it seems to be sliding in place a little bit there, where like, we're just seeing things, we're not seeing that insubstantiality in everything. We're not understanding that this computer, this chair, these glasses, and ultimately this body are, they're just coming together for now, and
mm.
they're
Gone, yeah.
gonna, go their own separate ways eventually. And that, but somehow or another, I still am here, right?
Mm,
Like
mm,
we are still here. All the living entities are still here, and we're very much alive.
mm,
Um, and so yeah, I guess focusing on focusing on what's real is focusing internally, because that's sort of where we are, is inside. And then that is connected to Krishna, because as he says, it's like in relation to the Supreme. We are this part of the Supreme. We're this little, piece of the same nature, the same makeup as it is described. And so, yeah, when we're thinking along those terms and doing things for that purpose, then that is, I guess, not being under illusion, right? That's like seeing things as they really are, or seeing things in knowledge.
Keeping Krishna in the center in whatever we are serving. You spoke very nice. I was thinking we are together, like you mentioned this, that we are here together. And I was thinking so many friends we had in the past, and we have absolutely no idea where they are now. We don't call them, we don't talk to them. So many relationships changed. Everything is changing. Just at this point of time, we are together. But like I was so involved with even devotees in Farmington has changed. See them every day, and now it's like hardly we talk in a way. Things are like constantly changing now. I was using a previous laptop, became old, deceased, left. Now new laptop. Everything around is changing. We were living in Krishna house. I will live in Krishna house. Now I'm living here. You are living in an apartment. You live in Krishna house. I'm living here. Everything is like everything around us is changing. Whether it's people around us or the clothes or environment, things, everything is changing. Only one thing which is constant is Krishna is still there with us. Body will also change, Prabhu. Krishna will remain with us. We may take a bird body, a fish body. Krishna will be there with us. So Prabhupada said that is devotion. I am eternal. Krishna is eternal. My relationship with him is eternal. Everything else is temporary. Amazing actually. I, Krishna, and our relationship is eternal. Everything else is temporary. Everything else will go. So Krishna says, if you don't see that in relationship to me, know it to be the effect of my illusory energy.
Does this also sort of lead into, or I guess help explain the next part of the verse about living alone, or going to a secluded place, sort of living by oneself? I feel like there may
So,
be a
Prabhupada says seclusion means living with devotees, Prabhupada says. Now, one may go to the forest and live alone also, but then one has to become free from the modes before one does that. Because otherwise, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I have my attachments, whatever modes are there. I go and live in the forest, then they will chase me. And what I leave now, after going there, I'll hanker for things that I have now, that I'm relishing now. Oh, I need that. That was so nice. That house was so nice. The car was so nice. I had some wealth that time. I had so much. I had so much nice food. I don't have anything. We'll hanker over what we left. So till we are completely spiritualized, going in the forest not it won't work. So living in devotees and for us, using everything in relation to Krishna is the only way. There is no other way. You eat the food, you spiritualize it. You spiritualize the relationships. You spiritualize the house, spiritualize the habits. We try to see everything in relation to Krishna. That is why bhakti is, as you said, accessible. That's how we can connect everything to Krishna. It's easy to connect things to Krishna. We can train ourselves to connect things to Krishna. But we cannot become Krishna conscious today, like self realized. But we can relate things to Krishna by our habits. Okay, every day I read, I chant, I cook for Krishna, I use things in relation to Krishna, everything. These are Krishna's children or, Krishna's family. Easy to relate, cannot be self-realized. It's a practice.
I feel like when words such as seclusion and maybe also renunciation are used in Bhagavad Gita, it sort of is referring to the illusory energy or the material side of things, right?
Mm.
Like as you say, seclusion doesn't mean like completely by oneself. It means sort of away from, I guess, the influence of material or influence of illusion. And so being around, I guess, living with other people who are sort of
Mm.
trying to make everything spiritual would include that, right? Would sort of be seclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that point, Proji. It's like you have to take your mind with you everywhere. Um, so if your mind is not prepared, you know, then cutting everything out is not going to make a difference. Your mind still gets just the same mind, you know. If you haven't turned it from your enemy into your friend yet, it's still going to act like an enemy no matter where you go.
Mm.
Hmm. Let's see. So I feel like that basically in we sort of did cover everything that the verse talks about, controlling the mind, free from desires and possessiveness. Um, I guess I would, now that because we're sort of on the subject of the temporal nature of things as well, puts it into more perspective why this yogi would not have feelings of possessiveness or would not be,
Mm.
there isn't even a feeling that I do possess anything.
Mm.
There's could because it's this table might be in my room right now, but
Mm.
certainly there will come a day soon when this table will be broken or in the garbage or somebody else will have it or I'll live somewhere else. It's like, the table won't be here anymore. And it can be said of anything. So there's no everything that we think of as or that we define as ours, my this, my that, is not really ours in the truest sense.
Mm. Mm. These desires and possessiveness so strong.
Mm.
So much we associate with desires and possessiveness. That's what hankering is, na? I want it. I'm missing it. Hankering for it.
Mm. Yeah.
So strong. But that is in reality, it's illusory energy influence on us. It's actually mode of passion. Desire and hankering was something mode of passion. What do we do? Yes, just keep Krishna in the center, keep Krishna in the center, and let Krishna purify. One example, I was thinking when you were speaking, this thought came to my mind, then I lost it. Um, Milk causes indigestion. Yogurt cures indigestion. Same. Both are a transformation of each other. Matter causes bondage. Matter cures the bondage or gives liberation.
Mm.
Matter is used in relationship, helps us become free from it. When matter is used without relationship with the Supreme, binds us to it. This is spoken by Narad Muni. I think King Prachini Bhari, or I don't remember with whom the conversation was. He asked this question: the matter is illusory. How can matter helps us realize Krishna? How can karma, our own activities, which are influenced by modes of nature, how can it give us liberation when that is the cause of bondage? So Narada Muni says, same milk product. One is causing a disease, one is freeing us from a disease. So same thing used in service of Krishna will free us.
Mm. I can relate to that example a lot, being lactose intolerant to Prodigy, because
Yeah, I
it's very true. The milk has a bad effect, and
know.
calling um the
You're
one
like,
day in India where I was like I was very sick, and then the Prabhus at the temple we were at, they just gave me like plain rice and yogurt mixed together.
"Oh,
It's like this is the way, right? That when your stomach's upset and it makes you
uh,
better. And that's another way that I think that bhakti practice is accessible because it's like um yeah, I don't know, it sort of flips. It's like anything that is currently binding you to the false ego can sort of be transformed. It's like the other side of that, how everything is temporary. It's like, well, everything, if something is a negative influence right now, you can help to transform that. Um, I know one example I hear a lot is like, using, it's like if anger comes up, or it's like anger arises in our mind for, whatever reason. There's a multitude of reasons that we become angry, but it's possible to transform anger. It's like when that feeling comes up, it is possible to transform it into, action. It's like anger gives us a lot of energy. We have a lot of energy if we start to feel that particular emotion. And I suppose if one is conscious of it and recognizes it as it comes up, you can sort of transfer that. It's like, how can I take this energy to use it for a good purpose, for a positive purpose? So it is again, it's a very encouraging lesson. I think, it's like you can take anything in your current life and you can use it as the vehicle for, for getting free, as long as it's directed towards the relationship to the Supreme.
yeah, amazing. We don't need to be Krishna conscious today, but we can bring Krishna in the center of our life still. That facility is there even in a conditioned nature. That's a relief. Like, all right, let's do this thing. Kind
Yeah, very nice, very relieving indeed, Prabhuji.
All right.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining. We'll see you next week. Krishna willing. Bye for now.